A guy named Jake ended up in the hospital because of a serious injury sustained in a car accident. He was scheduled for surgery and left under observation overnight. Unable to sleep, one night, he decided to take a walk through the empty hospital corridors. Passing by a room where a dim light was on, Jake decided to peek inside. Suddenly, a flickering light emerged from a dark corner of the room, and a figure of a person appeared before him. Jake was terrified, trying to understand what was happening. The ghost started to approach him, making mysterious sounds. Jake's heart raced. He tried to run out of the room, but the door closed on its own. In horror, Jake turned around and saw the ghost standing right in front of him. He could feel fear paralyzing his body, not allowing him to move a step. The ghost started speaking incomprehensible words surrounding Jake with its cold light. Jake realized he was witnessing something unimaginable beyond his understanding. In the last moment, he closed his eyes and screamed, hoping it was all just a terrible dream. Waking up in a cold sweat the next morning, Jake realized what had actually happened. Above his bed hung a photograph of an old patient who had died in the same ward many years ago. The nurse, seeing his frightened expression, asked what had happened. Jake simply held onto the sheet with the ghost's name in the photo and understood that the night in the hospital was a true nightmare that would stay with him for the rest of his life. I was lying in the hospital with my daughter. In the ward, it was just the two of us. It was an ordinary evening, the fourth day in the hospital. We were getting ready for sleep. I moved one bed closer to the other for convenience. There was an iron bedside table next to the bed. On the table, there was a water bottle and a glass. We went to sleep. My daughter fell asleep, and I was reading the news on my phone. After about 10 minutes, I fell asleep too and placed my phone on the bedside table. And then I suddenly woke up. It was strange. It was almost 5 in the morning. I usually don't wake up in the middle of the night. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, and then I heard the sound of water pouring into a cup from behind me, followed by a thud on the bedside table. Someone had taken the water bottle, poured water into the glass, and placed the bottle back on the table. I was in complete shock. I thought someone had come into the room and decided to drink my water. I turned around to look, but there was no one in the room. Maybe I had imagined it, but I don't think so. I was sure I wasn't dreaming because I later took my phone and lay there until morning. That night was very scary. I woke up in a cold hospital room. The walls around me were covered in horrific graffiti, like messages from hell. Every letter, every symbol seemed to scream of past suffering and horrors that had occurred within these walls. Various names were scratched on the walls. I did not know what was hidden behind these names, but I felt that they carried secrets. At night, when everything became quiet, strange things began to happen in the room. Barely audible whispers, ominous sounds, and ghostly shadows came to life, filling the room with horror. I heard muffled screams, like a call for help from the past. One day, as I was lying on my bed, trying to sleep, I heard heavy footsteps approaching my bed. Suddenly, a dark figure appeared in front of me. I tried to scream, but my throat refused to listen. The figure slowly approached me, its breath becoming tangible on my face. The figure leaned over me, its cold fingers touching my face. I closed my eyes, waiting